everybody, it's Rebecca Robbins, Mindshaper SLP, and I am bringing you today my very first installment of what I will be calling Tip of the Day Tuesday. So all of my friends and family know that Tuesday is actually my favorite day of the week, and it's because whenever someone asks me why Tuesday, it's because it is the most unassuming day of the week, meaning you don't really expect much out of a Tuesday, but in my experience, Tuesdays always bring about the biggest surprises, and I always end up having the most fun on Tuesdays. So in honor of my favorite day of the week, I will be bringing you my favorite tips and tools for what I do in therapy with my kids. And for our very first installment, we are going to be talking about big deal, little deal. Okay, so what's big deal, little deal? So this is a strategy we can use to help teach our kids how to not make mountains out of molehills. That's how the saying goes. And to cope with situations. So a lot of times our kids will have a tough time with dealing with tiny little disappointments, and it ends up causing a big meltdown for a tiny little thing. So I like to teach my kids this whole concept of big deal, little deal. And when I introduce it, I just go over the concept and say that there are things that are big deals, and then there are things that are little deals. And I always explain it as little deals are things that we can fix. We can do something about a little deal. So we don't need to cry and get upset about a little deal because we can fix it. And a big deal is something like somebody gets hurt or an emergency, or it's something that you really can't fix, or you're going to have a hard time finding a solution for it. And then I'll go through and we'll list different scenarios, and I'll have the child say if it's a big deal or a little deal. So for example, I'll say, you don't get to be the line leader today for your classroom job. Is that a big deal or a little deal? And hopefully they'll say it's a little deal. If the child says that something that they should label as a little deal is actually a big deal, what I always try to do is actually validate that for them, because the truth is we're calling it a little deal, but to them it feels like a big deal. So I don't want to diminish their experience. So I'm going to say, you know what? I get it. I totally understand that when you don't get to be the line leader, it feels like such a big deal because you love being the line leader. But let's think about ways that we can make it a little deal. And then kind of talk through different solutions and strategies that they could do to maybe ask the person who is the line leader if they can have a turn, or to ask the teacher if they can be the line leader tomorrow, or just I come up with a phrase that I teach the kids. You just say, that's okay, maybe next time, to kind of help calm themselves down. And then I'll talk about how big deals are things like if you fell down and broke your arm, that's a big deal. If there's a fire in the school, that's a very big deal. And then we just go through different scenarios like that. And I try to highlight things that I know the child typically has a tough time with, so that I can use it as a coaching and learning opportunity for the child. So one of the great things that I like to do once the kids are really familiar with the concept of big deal and little deal is I will go out of my way to overreact about things that might happen when I'm interacting with the child, so that they can then coach me into making something that I'm making a big deal into a little deal. So for instance, if I were to accidentally drop my pen on the floor, now I'm an actress, and so I'm very comfortable with being dramatic. But if I were to drop my pen on the floor, I might do something like, oh my God, I just dropped my pen on the floor. My life is over. And of course, the kids usually laugh because it's ridiculous. And I'll either prompt them or coach them to tell me that it's a little deal, or hopefully they'll go ahead and tell me on their own that it's a little deal. And then they get to be the teacher of the concept. And over time, the more and more we talk about this, and it's great because it's so easy to use it in the moment. We can use the language and we teach it to them when they're already feeling calm, but then when they're in a moment where they're feeling upset, and you say, remember, we can make this a little deal, it kind of helps them go back to that place where they learned it when they were calm. So that's my tip of the day, big deal, little deal. I know that there's some great videos out there on YouTube that will help teach the concept. Or you can just sit down and talk with your child about what's a big deal and what's a little deal. And if something that is a little deal feels like a big deal to them, what are some things that we can brainstorm so that we can make it a little deal? And another great thing to do is before you go into a situation where you know your kid might have a tough time, you can kind of talk about it beforehand. So if you know you're going to go outside and he likes a particular swing, and it's possible that another child will be on the swing, and usually that causes a huge meltdown. So you could say, remember, if somebody's on our swing, are we going to make it a big deal or a little deal? And hopefully they'll say, we're going to make it a little deal. Okay, great. What are some ways we can make it a little deal? Oh, I can ask for a turn. Yep, you can ask for a turn. I could choose a different swing. Yep, that's right. I can wait until they're finished. Yeah, those are all great ways you can make a little deal. So please comment below with any questions or success stories you've had with using this, and please share and like me on social media. Thanks a lot. I'll see you soon. Bye.